Hello and welcome. This is the Leaders Are Learners Academy, and my name is Kevin Wayne Johnson. I am the creator of this academy to help you with your leadership journey as well as your career progression. And I am also the founder and chief executive officer of the Johnson Leadership Group, where we focus primarily on leadership development training and executive coaching for the current and next generation of leaders at the frontline, mid level, and senior level within their various organizations. I am elated that you are here and you're with us today. I'm so grateful and thankful that you are making an investment in yourself. That's exactly what you're doing, and it will pay dividends. I'm a firm believer that leaders are learners and leaders are readers, and it's an ongoing journey. It never ends, it's recurring, it's continual, it's a process. And as you and I learn and grow and develop and mature and get better in our leadership skills, then we pass it on to those that are within our sphere of influence. So, again, welcome. So, this Lunch and Learn is simply titled Change Your World. And a lunch and learn is just that. It's an opportunity during your lunch to take the time to learn new strategies and principles and tools that you can add to your toolbox along your leadership journey. And for some of you, you have a half an hour for lunch, and some of you may have a full 1 hour for lunch, and some might even have 90 minutes. But regardless of the amount of time that you are allotted, take advantage of what we will share together. And you can pause at any time, you can stop, you can rewind, you can go back, you can re listen, you can reflect, you can take a self assessment. I'll be encouraging you to do that throughout our time together. And you'll also have access to a ton of resources. You will have access to this PowerPoint presentation. You will have access to a key image that I have posted in your resources section, where it's just an image that kind of reverberates the whole idea around your organization. You'll also have an opportunity to take a look at two videos. One video is about 4 minutes in length. It's just called the Castle Builder. It'll give you a perspective on how the key person in the video was able to change her world. And then, in terms of strategy, we share a very short video in reference to the game of chess and the strategy that's involved. So, wherever you are and wherever you sit, you have the power, you have the ability, you have the potential, and you have the knowledge to change your world, because we need great leaders that will make an impact in everything that we do. So, during our time here, we are going to really look at how anyone, anywhere can change the world. Now, we're not necessarily talking about the entire world, but maybe. But we're also really kind of honing in on our sphere of influence, people that you and I, in our personal lives and in our professional lives, can help people to get better. Change starts with us, and then we can help others to change as well. So take just a minute. There's a reason why you signed up for this particular Lunch and Learn session. And I would like for you, just using your notepad, your notebook, your pencil and pen, because I encourage you to take notes throughout this Lunch and Learn session. Just jot down some ideas. When you hear that term, change your world, what comes to mind? What is your purpose here today? Jot it down, because you want to be able to come back at a later time and remember what you wrote and give some more thought to exactly why you're here. And it may be maybe two or three purposes, not just one. That's fine as well. But in your notebook and in your notepad, take some notes with your pen and with your pencil and just begin to write down some things in terms of your purpose here today. So, my purpose for being here as your instructor and as your facilitator is to really get you to think about and process. Uh, we're here today because we want to make a difference in your life so as to make a difference in the lives of others. Again, in our personal life, perhaps at home, and in our professional life, there in our government agency, our corporation, our nonprofit organization, our church, and even those of us that might work in the academia space, in schools, colleges, and universities, all of the above. We want to make a difference in your life so that now you're in a position to make a difference in the lives of others and also to raise or elevate or heighten your awareness. Change your world. Now, you have what we call tremendous capacity to make a difference. It's really just a matter of tapping into who you are, recognizing and acknowledging your potential, your gifts, those things that you are really, really good at and that you can master, things that you really enjoy doing. You happen to get paid to do them, but perhaps you would do them for free. So you have the tremendous capacity to make a big difference in this world. But one thing stands between you and greater success. Just one thing stands between you and greater success. And it's your unique gifts that you have. Think about this for a minute, and I'm going to ask you to write down some ideas and some thoughts. A gift is something that is freely given to you, and you pretty much excel at it pretty easily. Not that some work doesn't have to go into it to master it, to develop it, to improve it, but it's something that you do that's relatively easy. I'll give you a quick example. Kevin Wayne Johnson loves to teach. I love to train. It's just something that's in my heart that I really enjoy doing. And yes, I get paid, but it's something that from time to time I do for free. And quite frankly, it's something that I would do for free because I really, really enjoy it. I like the research that I have to do. I like the study that I have to put in and the time of preparation that's needed in order to equip people that I'm teaching and training. It's a unique gift. It's something that I've always had. I've had it since the time I was a young boy, I remember. And so your unique gift has to come out in order for us to change our world. So as you write down those gifts, think about those areas in your life that just come relatively easy. It's not a lot of work. You still need to develop it and hone it, but it's not really difficult in terms of being able to put it to use. Now, when you serve others as a leader, you help them grow. And I can't help but put a big smile on my face because serving others as a leader has everything to do with helping people to see where they are today and where they can be tomorrow. And that's all about growth. Helping people grow is so key. And in doing so, you grow yourself. You learn so much about who you are, and you find yourself starting to do things that you didn't think you could do, or maybe you didn't even think about doing. In my case, for my 34 years career with the federal government at all levels, frontline, mid-level, and senior level, Technology was an area that I was never comfortable with. It was always evolving, changing, getting better, and just being able to keep up, I found to be very challenging. So I would hire people in my organization to be responsible for that and wouldn't take the time to learn. Not that I couldn't learn it, I just didn't want to learn it. I didn't have the will to learn it. But once I retired and I moved into a different season of life, the more I learn about it and the more I apply it, and the more that I find out that it's a tremendous benefit to the nature of the work that I do, I actually love it. And I have grown so much as a result. And so, of course, I use technology. We all use technology to help each other grow. But that's just a great example, one of many, of how I have grown because I grow myself. So let's dive into this very first lesson. Lesson number one: we can't wait for change. We can't. Change your world. We can't wait for change. Who do we need? That's a question. Write down a couple of thoughts there in your notebook or in your notepad. When it comes to this topic, change your world, think about it in terms of lesson number one. Who do we need? I'll give you a hint. We need each other. We are created to be relational, so we really do need one another in order to bring out the best, to help to accentuate our strengths, but also to help us out in a time of need in our areas of weakness as well. So just jot down there a couple of thoughts and a couple of ideas around how you would answer this question: who do we need? We need you. I wanted to wait for just a little bit while you were jotting some things down. We need your gifts. We need your talents. We need your ability, your creativity, your innovation, your energy is what we need to change the world. In this case, to change your world. Because you and I don't have the bandwidth to do everything. So that's why we need you to come into our lives to help us to change. And guess what? You need me. That's why I said we need each other. We're all interconnected. And the more we take time to build relationships and have a conversation with each other, the more we recognize and acknowledge that we have so many things in common. So we need you, and you need me, and we need each other, right? All of us. That's who we need. We need all of us. You know, there's a saying in the workplace where we grow ourselves, we grow our team, and then we grow our larger organization. And one thing you'll always hear me say as you take these various courses is team, TEAM, stands for together everyone achieves more. And it's just very important. Basically, what that saying is that we all need each other. Now, what is the first thing we need to do as it relates to changing your world? What is the first thing we need to do? Write down a couple of thoughts. What comes to your mind? What's in your heart? What is the first thing we need to do? Change your world. Write down some thoughts and some ideas as you give that some thought. The first thing we need to do. I would submit to you that the first thing we need to do is change our thinking, change our approach, change our demeanor, change our attitude, have the type of thought process that, you know what, I have what it takes in order to change my world. Now, Assumptions we make ultimately restrict our thinking. Therefore, it restricts our possibilities. So, assumptions are sometimes actions that we move out on without having all of the facts, without verifying and validating all of the information. So, we need to be very, very careful when it comes to change your world. We have to be very, very careful because, again, assumptions we make restrict our thinking, therefore, restrict our possibilities. So keep that in mind. Move out on verifiable and validatable information, and that'll prevent us from making assumptions. So, what assumptions might you have? Do you assume that taking on a particular project is too hard? Do you assume that when it comes to tackling a new initiative, no one's done it before, and perhaps because no one's done it means it's impossible and it can't be achieved? What assumptions might you have as it relates to change your world? If you want to adopt a change my world mindset, you have to have hope and you have to believe in yourself. So it starts with us having the belief in our heart and in our mind that we have what it takes to get it done. That's it right there. You have to have hope. That's the belief that even though you can't actually see it, that you can get it done through your initiative, through your effort, through your attempts, and through your trying and believing in yourself. And that's where I am in this phase of life. Again, just one more time, technology had always been that barrier for me that I chose not to embrace. And because I chose not to embrace it, it limited my ability to get some things done. But I tell you, once we created the Leaders Are Learners Academy, I had to get on board and I had to believe in myself that we could launch it and that we could produce quality curriculum and courses for a number of learners that have a thirst and a hunger to be better leaders. And so, change your world has everything to do with having hope and belief in yourself because it can get done. And you must lead yourself. So, leading yourself is part of what you're doing now. You have made an investment in yourself by taking this particular lunch and learn and going through the curriculum and going through the course, and you're learning some new things. And this is part of leading yourself so that you will be in a position to lead others. That's how this works. And now we are on our way to changing our world. So here's another question for you that I would like for you to think about and begin to process and write your response is, when do people change? That's a good question. There's a lot of different situations and circumstances that cause people to change or perhaps make people change. But what are your thoughts? When do people change? What comes to mind? Just jot down some ideas there in terms of when do people change. So I'll share with you some realities of the life in which we live. People change when they hurt enough. In other words, when we experience pain in a particular area and we have a realization that, what I'm doing is not quite working, then we'll make a change. So when they hurt enough is when people change. When they see enough. So for example, I've had an opportunity to see a lot of good men and women who are excellent leaders. I've actually seen them operate. I've seen them in action, and I've watched and observed in terms of how they interact and treat people. And I realize that if my leadership style is a bit different from theirs, then I need to make a change, especially if it's not working. What they're doing is working, and what I'm doing is not working. And so we see enough, and now we're able to make a change. When they learn enough, the whole learning process, the more we learn and we are able to expand our horizon and become deeper thinkers, is really amazing. Based upon what we learn and know, now we can make the necessary change, and hopefully the change for good, the positive change that's necessary to help us to change our world. And then also, people change when they receive enough. When they receive enough information, when they receive enough data and statistics that are validatable and verifiable, all of this information that we now have access to, that we have received, now we can go forward. Also, in terms of receive, has to do with help, perhaps mentoring, perhaps coaching, additional training. All of that is part of what we receive. And as we begin to receive the benefits from the work that we put in, now people are apt to change. So, in order to change your world, we have to have hope for others, because some people within our sphere of influence, they don't even have enough hope for themselves. So we have to come alongside and have hope for them on their behalf. And there are a lot of different reasons why that might be the case, but having hope for others is very key and very instrumental. So we as leaders need to be a hope helper. And what that means is giving people the inspiration and the motivation and the encouragement to have hope. Just be optimistic. See that glass as half full, even though it is half empty, but see it as being half full. Being optimistic about the future and what this life has for each and every one of us. Hope for a better future. Exactly. Absolutely. Now, we're going to transition now to lesson number 2. And lesson number 1 was really kind of intended to get us to think about how we would respond and answer to some of those questions. Now, lesson 2 is going to take us into a slightly different area, but along the same theme of change your world. Remember, we stated this already, that we all need each other. Read that quote there by Mother Teresa. Together, we can do great things. That is absolutely amazing, absolutely true. And we all know that name, Mother Teresa. I can do what you cannot, and you can do what I cannot. Together, we can do great things. Remember that concept, team, TEAM. Together, everyone achieves more. Now, everything multiplies when we work together. It replicates, it reproduces, it expands, it becomes exponential. That's how working together works. And one of our biggest challenges as leaders is bringing people together and convincing them to work together, because we get so much more done than trying to do it individually. So here are 5 principal thoughts of change. First one is this: we is more important than me, right? 2 words, just 2 letters. One is we and one is me, but we is more important than me. Who is more important than how? Because the who gets into the who's involved. That's the people element. The how is more mechanical in terms of how do we get to the desired outcome, but the who is dealing with the core, and that would be the people. And then what unites us is more important than what divides us. Absolutely, no doubt about it. So being united versus being divided is very, very key and very important. And what I have is more important than what I lack, because you're bringing your value to the team and to the table, and what you lack kind of goes back to number one, where we say we is more important than me. So whatever skill, knowledge, or ability that you lack, that's okay. Somebody else on the team will supplement for it and be able to fit right in. And then the last one here is collaboration, coming together, building bridges, having common ground, connecting. Collaboration is more important than cooperation. Collaboration is where all of us get together, that hand fits into that glove, and we're able to partner and we're able to go forward by way of mutual agreement. So these are what we call the five principal thoughts of change. Now, we have to do something. Call to action or call of action. So it's one thing to have the hope. It's one thing to have the ability, the skill, and the knowledge. It's one thing to have the right people on the team. It's one thing to have the desire. But now, as a part of lesson number 2, change your world, we have to move these thoughts and hope to action. And that's what's very, very key in this moment. So, how do we go about doing that? Well, we want each and every one of you to do something. And I'm going to pause just for a second and ask you to start to write down some notes there in your notebook and your notepad around do something. What is it that you aspire in your mind to do? How are you going to change your world? What comes to mind as it relates to doing something? I mentioned a little bit earlier in this lunch and learn, what I'm doing is spending 95% of my waking hours every day pouring into the lives of the current and next generation of leaders. I'm teaching a class, I'm conducting a training, I'm doing some type of a speaking engagement, I'm on a panel, or I'm doing some other type of work behind the scenes to help this generation of leaders, because I believe that good leaders help to make the world a much better place. So the charge is to do something. Take notice of your thinking. It should be positive thinking, and it should be thinking in terms of how does it impact others in a very positive way and making a difference as it relates to change your world. Where does your hope lie? Where do you put your hope? Not only what is your hope, but where does your hope lie? Where does it reside? So that ultimately you can move from that thought of being hopeful to action and make something happen. Are you focusing on what things could be? Or Another way of asking it is, are you focusing on what things can be? Big difference. Possibilities are wrapped up in could, but it's much more definitive when you say can. Much more definitive. You can actually see it and experience it. It's concrete. It's almost like you can touch it, and it makes a big difference. Are you stuck with negative thoughts of the way things are? These are questions for you to think about, ponder. Again, you have an opportunity. These materials are yours to pause and stop and go back and reflect and do a self assessment at your own pace. Again, that's why it's called a lunch and learn, at your own pace. But are there negative thoughts, things that you are thinking about that maybe have you stuck? Something to think about. And if so, you can write those down so that at some point you'll have an opportunity to come back and take a look and have an opportunity to say, here are some areas in my life where I'm going to start to work on so I can get out of being stuck with negative thoughts. Are you looking for what unites us more than what divides us? Okay? Togetherness, unity, oneness. Because again, we're making the transition, like we said earlier, we is better than me. So look for ways that you can unite people to come together in lieu of people being divided. So we have just covered lesson one and we have covered lesson two, because when it's all said and done, each and every one of us has what it takes on the inside to change your world, change your thinking, change your ability to get things done, change your ability to impact other people. Because when it's all said and done, as a leader who helps others, now we are all in a position to make the world a much better place, because we have first changed our world so that now we can help others to change their world as well. So again, take a look at the videos that we have prepared for you. Take a look at the image of the business photograph and kind of relate to that as it relates to change your world. Go back and review the PowerPoint slides and respond to the notes that you've taken in your notepad. And if you have any questions on anything at all that we've covered, please feel free to reach out. The Johnson Leadership Group at gmail.com, the Johnson Leadership Group at gmail.com, and I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have along this journey. Again, congratulations. I'm so proud of you that you would make an investment in your leadership journey. Remember, leaders are learners, but also leaders are readers. And I firmly believe that with more better equipped leaders together, we can make the world a much better place. This is Kevin Wayne Johnson. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.